So I have, I've obviously I've been a fan for a long time, my entire life. I started being a fan back in '86, '87 with Hogan and Savage and Steamboat, and of course I was coming of age in the Attitude Era when you guys took it through the moon. And I always told myself, Brandon, if you ever get to talk to Stone Cold Steve Austin, there are a couple of questions you must ask him, and I'm about to ask you right now. So here we go.
Gotcha.
Stone Cold Steve Austin, how did you not break into laughter when you hit Vince McMahon with that bedpan?
Man, I couldn't because it was such a serious angle. When people look at that, just the act of hitting a guy with a steel bedpan, it's funny. And obviously the acoustics were funny because that was a real noise that, the stainless steel bedpan made from connecting with his skull. But man, when you're shooting a major angle and there's comedic elements to it to the fans, but to me, I'm dealing out punishment. So
Yeah.
from there to the foot to the enema at the end, pounding on the foot, it was all pure business to me.
I love the idea
And
of it.
business is serious.
Yeah, no, I love the idea of it being pure business. But over in the corner, you've got Yerple the clown, and you've got Mick Foley wearing a sock on his hand. But you knocked the shit out of him with that bedpan.
Yeah, and on a side note, while Yerple was doing her thing, me and Mick were in this little bitty bathroom together because there was nowhere else for us to go. And these two big guys in this very small bathroom, and we're talking, and we're very close to each other. And he pulls the sock out and he puts his hand in it, and he starts telling me, "This is going to be my new finisher." And I'm saying, "You're kidding me."
Right.
And we're laughing our asses off inside that bathroom like a couple of kids. Finally had to beat on the door and say, "Hey, y'all shut up so Vince can film his other stuff so we can get to you."
So you were the first person to ever see Sacco in that bathroom as you guys were getting ready to go out there, and you had to think, there's no way this is going to work, and it's the biggest thing in Mick Foley's career.
No, I told him right there. I said, "Dude, this will work. This is going to be amazing." And it was. I knew it right off the bat.
Okay, all right, yeah. Well, that sounds pretty cool because it did. It worked immediately. The next Monday, there were Sacco 316 signs in the crowd. Everybody was going crazy. My second question for you is, how incredible was it to lay in a pool of your own blood at WrestleMania 13 with a sharpshooter, knowing that you guys just pulled off one of the greatest matches in history? How awesome was that?
It was really cool because I've said that in the past when I was laying there in a pool of blood, and finally, Ken Shamrock broke Brett off of me, and they did that little do-si-do and the altercation that they had, and I just had to stay down. And finally, then Brett got out of the ring, and finally Shamrock left, and I was just laying there, and in my whole career, that was most likely the most satisfying moment I'd ever been through because we rocked the crowd. We had them from start to finish. When I started bleeding, they really came. And god dang, when I was trying to get out of that sharpshooter, I would have never imagined back then or while we were doing it that my face with that blood would become one of the most iconic images in the history of pro wrestling. And yeah, laying in that pool of blood, and it was a good pool of blood too. I felt relief. I felt joy that we had accomplished successfully a double turn, because a double turn don't happen too often, and it damn sure don't happen at the top level.
No, and especially with somebody as established as a face as Bret Hart was at that time. I mean, he was Mr. WWF or Mr. WWE at the time, and you guys were able to switch that. It was beautifully done. It's my choice for the greatest WrestleMania match ever. I go back and forth. My two favorites are Savage Steamboat at WrestleMania 3 and then you guys at WrestleMania 13. So I've always wanted to ask you that because it's the it's the only career in the world where you can be laying in a pool of blood and that is your most successful thing you've ever done. To that point,
it is.
Yeah,
it's
an odd business in that way, in that you never know what's going to be the turning point. But with your career, and you obviously went to heights nobody ever had gone to before. Do you think the bigger moment for you was coining Austin 316 the way you did, or then passing out on the sharpshooter for Bret Hart, or was it all just a sequential ladder for you?
Kind of a sequential ladder, like you said, but. Man, if I had never cranked out Austin 316, or because Stone Cold said so, those two,
Right.
moments in that promo of a match an event I was never supposed to win. Those laid the groundwork, and those were my base. Doing that business with Brett and him picking me to make that comeback match at Survivor Series, whatever it was, in '96 at the Garden, that was a pivotal match. It was different things like that, but I needed all of them to make it work.
Sure, sure. I remember the '96 match Survivor Series in the Garden, just across the street from where we sit today, and then Chicago with WrestleMania 13.